Okay, as we speak, BTC is actually melted a bit. Now, again, this 49350 is like really a roadblock. It went up for a moment, for a few hours maybe, and then came down, gave kind of a fake breakout above this 49350, a magical number. Now, so if you look at this 8 hour, so many trials and then break out for a few hours, try to support, got support here, but then failed, and then another trial, then failed, and then got the S1 support, and now another one, and now retrace. So I would say, so there's nothing that should worry. I would say it will go off balance only if it starts coming down to S2. Ideally, it should remain as above S1. So, from risk management point of view, let's talk about that first. I would say if it starts going down below S1, or you may say this level, which is a recent low, maybe I should add one more just below this one. Not a major difference though. 46250, let's say. I will just give a range in a way. So this is the S1 range, let's say 46250, roughly speaking 46k. So if it goes below 46k, then I should that then there is a red flag, because then it could touch S2. I'll have to work on S2, S3 if it happens. So if it happens, then I'll fine tune S2, S3. I'm not touching at this moment, but I may require some fine tuning, which I'll do if required. At this moment, we don't have to. So this is just a scenario for now and for readiness, as I always do, just in case if it, and this is weekly call, right? So it's not about daily where it could change. So on a weekly call, I have to cover both the scenarios. Even though there is no risk, I have to touch base what might happen and talk about the level which we should look forward for risk management, right? So if this range is maintained, there is nothing to worry. Let it play around in this range. It could be boring but not risky. Yeah, and below S1 we have to be careful for sure. From a trend point of view, of course, not an issue, but I think it's always good. I always recommend that trading is not all about buying like all in and all out. Trading has to be gradual, incremental. You can average out whatever way you want, on the rise or on the dip, as you want. But the point is, there are pros and cons of doing um, on the dip and both ways. So, but like we can talk later, but that's not the main topic here. But it's never about putting all the money in one go unless you know what you're doing. It's not that you cannot, but then you know what you're doing, then it's all right, right? So the point is, when we talk about risk, we have to talk about the strategy, and my strategy is simple, that you keep reducing as and when it breaks support. Like for example, here this was a major dump and the alert was raised over here. Anyone who started reducing would not have faced this one, right? So I'm not saying it is going to happen, but this is a child pattern which I was talking about earlier. This is a parent one and this is a child. Now it doesn't mean that the history repeats, the because you cannot say this pattern is this whole pattern. You can say this is the pattern and where this is like a fall. So this could change if it goes up, and then we are not no longer comparing with this parent one. However, for now, it makes sense for me to continue comparing, because this is the arch I was talking about. It's kind of a top out at a macro scale, and then this was a plunge. This is a consolidation period, and this is a recovery wave. So as part of the recovery wave, the shape of this recovery wave is very similar to this parent one, right? So that's what I'm highlighting. However, that will be invalidated as soon as this is broken about. I was expecting, if you look at 1 2 3, I mean, it's not that it has to make the exact number of picks like this one, but this wave is telling that it's bending, and slowness. Even the volume is going down. If you look at it, steaming out. So from volume point of view, this is a sign where, so volume is tricky. Volume doesn't say up or down. Okay, let me clarify that. It doesn't mean that it's up or down. It simply means that it's going to end this specific wave, okay, soon. So when it is close, and again, it is not going to be zero, not, it's not like that. So this could be the day, Monday could be the day where it will start, the or tomorrow could be the day. uh, we don't know how low this volume could go. That is also not known. It remains unknown. But one thing is obvious is, unless you see change in this magnet, unless you see sticking, unless you see change in the slope, like it has to be like a breakout, like, so this can end up with a green candle or a red candle. That's something we don't know. Okay, but this is an indication that the volume is declining, and this wave is losing its steam. But if this is considered as consolidation, right, the consolidation may end up with a breakout on the upside. So for now, because the price is here, we are expecting a breakout on the upside. But if price comes down to this level below S1, then we have to be neutral. But again, we are talking about this wave. Remember, we're not talking about a macro trend here. We're not talking about, let me zoom out a bit. See, we are talking about this trend, and this is a counter trend, and this is a recovery, and we are talking about a continuation of this primary trend. So this is a primary trend, this is a counter trend, which is secondary trend, which happens during the primary trend, and then this is a recovery. So we are talking about very specific wave here. We are not even talking about the main primary trend. So just to remind you, and a clarification. So don't assume that this, if this goes down, means we're talking about a macro level failure. No, I'm talking about this level, right? So I put this particular wave as a one single unit, so to speak. Okay, and it had this correction, and then it could have one more major one, right, before it moves on. So that could be its life cycle, right? But only when it goes off balance. And I'm trying to say how it will start getting off balance, and that has to be understood from the support level point of view, right? Right, so if it goes below S1, it will start going off balance. So in that case, we have to manage our risk. It's very simple, right? So I hope that is clear. Feel free to ask me if anything is not clear, especially if you're new. Um, okay, so that's my take. Now, so what I want is, see, let me tell you, let me go back. When we were here, I remember I used to drag this arch, and I said, I want this to be, so every time it tried, it got rejected. then try, rejected, try, rejected. You see, this used to happen. And what it gave us at that point in time, that it gave us this boundary. And what we were saying, that see, it's trying hard to break above, but it's not able to break above this arch, this curve that you see here. Like for example, it was failing. Maybe I should extend it from here and show you like this. And we were tracking that it must break above, it must break above, and it was failing so many times. It failed so many times, see. And eventually it did, right? Eventually this particular one was able to break above, correct? So, and then it took a little rest here and then continued. So this happens, and this is how I see things. Now think, it's the same concept. You see this arch, this it is building up here, and it's steaming out that way, right? This is a boundary. So you see number of trials, but it's failing. So it's progressing in terms of price, but it is kind of, it's not a straight line, it's not a horizontal line, it's an arch. That's why it's disguising. That's why, but we are, and it expanded when it made a new high here. Otherwise I was thinking it could have gone down from here, it didn't. So if you draw a support line, it's like a stepping stone, like this one. Maybe I should use different color, or maybe thicker line. You see, it's like a stepping stone, just to give you an idea how it is progressing. So one thing you would notice, this is how it is progressing, shorter and shorter. Another thing you notice, that you see this structure, it is shrinking, getting smaller. I hope you are able to visualize and with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are minor thing that you don't see it often. This you will train your eyes or mind once you see enough. And my see, my work is very different. I'm not saying, I'm not comparing, but this is what I do. This is how I see, and I'm trying to share with all of you in this call. And I don't use indicator, very different method. And but this has been working well for me. And I see fractals, I see patterns like this, and it plays out very well. So this structure, and then this is a smaller structure, and this is even a smaller structure, and this is my boundary, this is a stepping stone. You see the distance between this also is shrinking. So you may say this is my next miniature version, or a boundary, maybe little lower, aligning with this one, you know and then it could hit this one, roughly speaking, and then consolidate in this tiny little space, and then break apart. But but this also gives us a boundary, that if this region is broken below, then it will hit this one, and this was the support, and if it goes back to this support, that's not good. So that's why S1 becomes very critical. So I'm giving this range. I don't want to change this 46900 which I calculated earlier, and this is a real versus the edge. So this is a band. So I'm going to keep both, right? So this is the rationale behind my scenario, that why this level is so important for this wave. Again, not talking about a main primary trend, I'm talking about this wave, right? And if that happens, then it's just a delay. It could come down to this level 44, 43. It can go down even further down. We don't know, because see, this wave is this much. Even this wave comes down to this 39k, still there is no harm. But of course the alts will bleed, right? And it will, people will get disappointed. Why? Because people had enough frustration here. Now many people actually are getting excited, and this is like a hammer. If that happens, and it will just demotivate them, upset them. But here we are having, we are trying to remain a step ahead, and we want to make sure we know, we understand what level is a risk level. And I really don't want anyone, really speaking, to sit back, do nothing. I mean, it's your choice, of course. Sorry, I'm not trying to be personal here, but I was little upset in a way that despite of alerts, risk was not measured, or I mean taken care. And so many members lost, so many, I mean, despite of risk was raised, alert was raised, and so on. So that was bit disappointing. So I would say, don't ignore this support level for risk management. Don't see, we are not talking about doomsday, but there's always, you can reduce, let's say 10-20% of your position. It's not that you are going out. It's you can always, and if it goes down further, you can buy back when it starts rising. If it goes down further, you can always reduce. You are at least not disappointed that, you know what, you lost your gain or lost your capital. That disappointment won't be there. So that's my message to everyone. Don't ignore this support level. And the support level, it doesn't mean going I mean getting out completely. It can be 5% reduction, it can be 10% reduction, but doing nothing is not something ideal. Okay. Preservation of capital point of view. Okay, so I just wanted to emphasize the risk management part in a downside scenario. I started with that scenario because it has to be understood. This is a weekly call. Okay, now now we understand why this is important. Again, this level is not something that we should worry, and maybe this is just creating a symmetry, like this is a left hand side, this is a right hand side, and then should take a turn, and then move up, right? But this doesn't change, it must break above this arch. That this requirement doesn't change, and it's tricky because it's at angle, it's not a horizontal line, so it's going to be tricky. Like for an example here, so it's not going to give you exact it, because there's no exact angle we can draw. It's not a line, it's not a trend line you can draw and it will give you some, this is a band, this is an arch. So that's a tricky part, right? Anyways, so you will come to know for sure. So maybe once it reaches this level, then we can say this is broken above, right? In that case, we'll consider this was a positive consolidation, and now we are talking about another leg, and another leg on the upside, right? That could be steeper in terms of price action, steeper than this one, right? We'll see when it happens. So that's my take on BTC. This is at a lower time scale. Maybe let's say zoom out and go higher and higher level and see how it looks like. So this is one day, which is not so different. It also showing declining volume, and you see this rise in volume indicates that it wants to go up, and this is declining, means it's steaming out, right? And now what we want is a bigger push with a higher volume, and then if it goes here, then it's kind of a confirmation that okay, this this particular consolidation, which, so this is a clean pump, this is a pump, but this is more like a consolidation which is happening uh, in ascending you know direction, like not horizontal. So which is also positive in a way. It's not like moving sideways, it's positive, right? It's making progress, slow progress, but it's making progress. So this is one day. Maybe, you know what, another way to look at it is yeah, I think um, yeah, I think we can draw one more line here. Yeah, and then you can draw one more line here like this. It will show you that it broke above and then it retested this line. This is one point of view. You can always see from different point of view. So you can say this is let's say line, and it was broken above, and this is a retest of the line, and then now it's making progress. This is another angle of the same thing, but a different point of view. Anyway, I'm emphasizing more on this arch thing, which is more relevant for me. Anyways, so this part is clear. Let's go higher on a weekly scale. And I'll hide drawings to avoid. So this is even weekly scale. See, this is a back-to-back candle. What you see, you see one thing. Let me ask you a question then. It's not a test, it's just interaction. What do you observe here?
The steps are smaller going up.
Yeah, got it. Got it. So this is another way to look at it. It's losing its strength. You see. So this whole entire week can be consolidation. So you see how it is forming a ceiling. So maybe next week also does this, but then it can shoot up like this, right? So this is not a negative sign. What we are saying here is this particular wave, right, is steaming out. Okay, and it can be because it now wants to create another one, but it could create that one after dipping, right? Or it just could just move sideways and then goes up, you see. So this week or next week, it has to go up or down. Of course, there are only two directions. What I'm trying to say is this is a sluggish movement, but we are expecting a major move, right? So it could be first downside move and then upside move, or it can be just one more horizontal move and then goes upside. So, but as you see, the weekly is slowing down from price level, from the candle size point of view as well. You can clearly see that, especially this week, last 2 weeks, I would say. Until then, it was like pretty much the straight line. If I hide those two candles, pretty much the straight line. But then you see the slowness, right? Now, if you see the same thing over here as well, you see the plateau here. This is flattening. Maybe 3-day scale would tell you that. What I'm sharing is is my again. This is how I see things. You see how it is creating a plateau here. This is steaming out, flattening, and this is where I raised alert because this had to be broken above. See, actually, it could have gone down from here. It didn't. It made a new high, higher high, and then it went down. When it went up, the condition was to create another higher high, but it didn't. As soon as it started going down, that's a red flag. That was a red flag, right? So if you look at this one on a 3-day, actually 3 days, much better. Here also there was a, so this is bending in a similar way. What we want is it should keep making higher high, then it's all right. But if it starts going down, especially, that's why this S1 is important, 46K, because now you will realize what I mean comparing this. Why, if it goes down, it is like this is like your S1 46K, and then if it goes down, still it's okay, but if it goes down, it can go down further. I hope I'm making it simple and clear for you to understand. At least this is how I'm seeing things from Bitcoin, for Bitcoin. I wanted to share with you. right? Okay, and you don't need indicators, by the way. Indicators are useful, but this is superior in my point of view. Right. So this, so we had to wait and watch. There's no other way. Monthly, let's check it. Check out monthly. No. So monthly is super strong. Monthly is strong. Month is ending in a couple of days, and monthly is strong, right? There's no sign of any risk. This is strong. So as far as this trend is concerned, this recovery is concerned, it's strong. Absolutely no risk. So whatever I said, even if it goes down a bit, little bit, it's just a delay. It's not going to hurt anyways, right? This level is left behind. You're not going to talk about this, okay? Because this level matters the most, because this level was decisive. Anything here is just little here and there, right? It's just a timing thing. So I don't mind how much time it spends here. So that's my take. So that's it for BTC. I'll stop my recording. Feel free to ask any question you might have on this topic before we move into ALS.